Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's talk a little bit about the Vietnam Dong. A lot of people have been asking me, why is the Vietnam Dong's currency exchange rate so low? Well, there's a couple of reasons for it. Because their situation is not the same as Iraq. Vietnam has their own separate issues that they're dealing with. We'll cover that here right now. Before we get started, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, go check out our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code PIMPY, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free half ounce of silver. All right, if we just take a quick look at what's going on with Vietnam, it's got obviously the Vietnam Dong has a Wikipedia page that tells you a little bit about its history. But you can see right here, it says the Vietnamese Dong is currently the third weakest circulating currency as of May 2021, behind the Venezuela Bolivar and Iranian Rial, with one American dollar equaling approximately 23,000 Vietnamese Dong. I'm going to scroll down here just a little bit to get to this one area of interest. Right here where it says exchange rate. Now, I've said this a million times, and still people get them either mixed up or don't understand. There's a difference between a currency that revalues versus a currency that has their exchange rate reinstated. People are expecting the Iraqi dinar to have their rate reinstated at the $3.22 level where it was before the Iraqi currency was devalued due to the invasion that it did in Kuwait as part of its punishment. A revaluation is like what we saw happen in December 2020 when they devalued the Iraqi dinar. So people automatically make that weird connection that an RV means an increase in value. No, all that means is they're taking the exchange rate value and it's changing. It could be positive, it could be negative. You can see right here the exchange rate for the Vietnam Dong. It says after the revaluation of the Zimbabwe dollar on August the 1st, 2006. It says after the revaluation of the Zimbabwe dollar on August the 1st, 2006, this is what the currency looked like. The Dong became the least valued currency unit for months. Now notice it said the revaluation of the Zimbabwe dollars, the revaluation. So it said around March 21st of 2007, the revalued Zimbabwe dollar regained the least valued currency status in terms of black market exchange rate, and on September the 7th of 2007, in terms of official exchange rate, after use of the Zimbabwe dollar ceased in August 12th, 2009. So they no longer use the Zimbabwe dollars after April the 12th of 2009. It said the Dong was the second least valued currency until the Iranian Rial as of November 28th of 2014. Since June 19th of 2014, the Vietnam Dong has been devalued a total of 5 times in an effort to help spur exports and to ensure the stability of the currency. You see this? Since June 19th, 2014, the Vietnam Dong has been devalued a total of 5 times. That's a revaluation in the wrong direction, though. And they do this to try to stabilize the currency. Look at in 1990, you could get 97 Vietnam Dongs for $1. It's not like we see today where you get 22,862. So as you can see, since the 1960s, it has progressively gotten worse. 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 210s, 220s, here we are today. Now, from 2020 to 2022, you can see this number is going down. That's good. It's going in the right direction. Not much, but at least it's going in the right direction. That's what you like to see. We know what happened during the RONA lockdown. They were thriving, and unfortunately, the rest of the other countries weren't open for them to do business. And then 2021, it got hit kind of hard. But having said that, it is at least going in the right direction. You want to see this number reduced. The number of Vietnam Dongs you get for $1, you want to see that go down until it gets to the point where you have to spend more US dollars to get one Vietnam Dong. Get it? Got it? Good. A few days ago, the IMF completed their 2022 Article 4 mission to Vietnam. What's happening is Vietnam is under Article 4 of the IMF. So, Article 4 of the IMF is when the country sits down with members of the IMF, and once a year they meet and go over all the numbers, the economy, the budget, everything else, of course, as well as the status of the country. So, this is the report that was written up by the IMF. Their goal for 2022 is to have a 6% in GDP. They're saying that inflation is expected to edge up to 3.9% by the end of this year. They've listed that their policy priority should be to entrench the recovery, preserve the macroeconomic stability, and promote inclusive growth. On this third paragraph, you can see decisive structural reforms are needed to address longstanding challenges related to the business environment, especially for SMEs, labor quality and skill mismatches, and governance. One of the issues with Vietnam is their corrupt government, just like over there in Iraq, but at least Iraq's trying to do something about it. Their corrupt government purposely goes out of the way to manipulate the currency to keep it down, or they won't do anything within country to help increase its value. So I'm gonna scroll down just a little bit because all this talks about the recovery, the RONA. Some of it has something to do with their history, their current policies. I don't know if you want to hear all this stuff, but I'll leave a link. You can come check this out. The fact that they're pledging to reach net zero emissions by 2050. Strengthening the resilience of the banking sector is essential for sustainability, support, and medium-term growth. Relaxation of loan classifications and provisioning rules should be unwound as the recovery is firming up. Regulatory forbearance on loan classifications should not be extended beyond June 2022. And this paragraph right here gives you at least a hint on what's going on. It says decisive structural reforms are needed to meet the authorities' aspirations of sustained inclusive growth. The business climate should be improved by creating a level playing field for finance and land access and reducing the regulatory burdens, especially on SMEs and young firms. Further efforts are needed to improve the quality of the labor force and reduce skill mismatches. Policy should be mindful of implications on the income and wealth inequality, as cross-country experience suggests the rising inequality lower growth. Yeah, well, again, the wealthy people there are the politicians, in which they get paid in American dollars, or they do business in American dollars, then bring them and convert them into the Vietnam dongs, and by converting them, really helps stretch things out for them financially over there. It actually is a huge benefit. So for them, it's better to have the Vietnam dong remain at a low exchange rate because they're only focusing on themselves and not their people. So the government usually keep a close eye on the banks. They really have tight monetary policies. They'll do whatever it takes to help keep the dong about where it is because they benefit from it in the long run, unfortunately. Until governments around the world do something about that, that kind of corruption is going to stay there. So you want to know what the IMF funds Article 4 is. You scroll down here, you can see. It says Article 4, obligation regarding exchange arrangements. So Vietnam went into this agreement that they would work with the IMF and World Bank to help stabilize their economy as well as their currency. That's what this is. You can see a general obligation of members, general exchange arrangements, surveillance over exchange arrangements, par values, separate currencies within the members' territories. So these are all the things they agree to. It says, recognizing that the essential purpose of the International Monetary Fund is to provide a framework that facilitates the exchange of goods, services, and capital amongst the country, and that sustains sound economic growth, and that the principal objective is the continuing development of the ordinary underlying conditions that are necessary for financial and economic stability. It's unfortunate there's a lot of countries out there who are not being managed correctly by their politicians. Greed plays a huge part of there, and so inflation always seems to be a factor that affects the exchange rate. But you can see some of the rules they have here. Endeavor to direct the economic and financial policies towards the objective of fostering orderly economic growth with reasonable price stability with due regards to its circumstances. Seeks to promote stability by fostering orderly underlying economic and financial. You guys don't want to hear this because it's all boring. Okay? Avoid manipulating exchange rates. What's the purpose of the rule? because when they do that, nothing gets done to them. They're not punished at all. So what is the purpose of this rule? This is what drives me crazy. So it says avoid manipulating exchange rates or the international monetary system in order to prevent effective balances or payments adjustments or to gain an unfair competitive advantage over other members. They do that. Follow exchange policies compatible with the undertaking under this section. So you can see here under section 2, the general exchange arrangements. So these are the arrangements that Vietnam has with the IMF. Each member shall notify the fund within 30 days after the date of the Second Amendment of this agreement of the exchange arrangement it intends to apply in fulfillment of its obligations under Section 1 of this article, and shall notify the fund promptly of any changes in its exchange arrangements. And over here in Part B, you can see under the international monetary system of the kind prevailing on January 1st, 1976, exchange arrangements may include the maintenance by a member of a value for its currency in terms of the special drawn rights or another denominator other than gold selected by the member, or cooperative arrangements by which members maintain the value of their currencies in relation to the value of the currency or currencies of other members, or other exchange arrangements of a member's choice. So I think this is interesting that the exchange arrangements could be with just about anything except for with gold. If they really wanted to strengthen up the people's currency, then give them gold. The problem is the IMF and World Bank are so corrupt and they're globalists, which means they do more to hurt these countries than they do benefit them. I will leave a link for this if you want to come over here and check it out and see what Article 4 really is. So yes, Vietnam is under Article 4 for the International Monetary Fund, and it has everything to do with the exchange rate, making sure their economy is stable as well as their currency. So you can see here over the years, this is going back to April of 2012, the Vietnam dong has been losing its value. It has consistently gone down. This is what they're talking about, the devaluation, the revaluation of the Vietnam dong is what they were doing. They were devaluing the currency. Once it got to around October of 2018, it was stabilized for a couple little dips here and there. But then after March of 2020, the currency started to go up in value. So we don't want to see the Vietnam dong go down like this. We want to see it go up. Now this is the 10-year view. See, that's what you want to see, it go up. That is definitely the direction you want it to go in. So at least over the past 2 years, little by little, not like anything to write home about, Vietnam has been gaining back some of their value. The amounts are so small, you'll just get frustrated trying to figure it out. But the point is, it is at least going in the right direction. The only part you won't like is the fact that still today, people believe that the government does all they can to keep the Vietnam dong at its current value for the reason that I gave you. They get the American dollars and then swap them over for their dollars. So we move over here, which is a nice, this is a global currency reset. This is an article. I'm not sure where it's from, but it's definitely a nice little write-up. It's got the history in there. The Vietnamese dong devalued 2014 through 2016, has been devalued 5 times from June 2014 to January 2016, and may be devalued further despite the increased exports. It says, this article attempts to introduce new investors into the history of the devaluation of the currency of Vietnam since 2014 to the present day. So this article is a little older, obviously, because it says something that you guys won't like. It says the purpose is to show that there has been no indication that their central bank plans to revalue the currency ever. So I will leave a link for this as well. You can go through here and read this. This is the history of it. It tells you about all the devaluations, why they happen, when they happen, and what's going on. They do go on to talk about a very tightly controlled central bank. This page actually does a pretty good job of educating people on the Vietnamese dong and how they're pegged to the US dollar, the greenbacks, and how being pegged to the US dollar affected the value of the currency in Vietnam. Also, they talk about the fact that when China keeps manipulating their currency by depreciating the yuan, it drags currencies lower across Asia. Because a lot of these countries do business with China, So what China does to their currency affects the other currencies as well. I just want to remind you that this article is a little bit older, but it has a lot of great information I think you could benefit from. It gives you an idea of what's going on in Vietnam and how they have been dealing with their exchange rate over the past few years, well, at least since 2012. I don't want it to discourage you. That's why I'm showing you this. You can see the past 2 years, Vietnam Dong has slowly but surely been going up, besides this little dip right here. Since March 31st, 2020, that's when everybody shut down due to the RONA and everything had that dip. And then it's been recovering and moving upward ever since until we got right over here. Trading issues and the whole 9 yards. And they said they'll do something to control the currency rate. They did. It dropped, and now it's since recovered. So right now, Vietnam is in Article 4 with the IMF, which means they just babysit their economy, pay attention to the economic growth, pay attention to the exchange rate, their trades. Basically, somebody's babysitting their money habits. It's to help them deal with inflation. But like I said, when it comes to IMF and the World Bank, their policies are great at keeping inflation low, but terrible at allowing the growth and strengthening of local currencies. That's the problem that Iraq had with the World Bank and IMF. So I do have Vietnam Dong, and I do have Iraqi dinar, and I do have Iranian rial. What I do is I just stack them, put them over to the side, and just wait to see what happens. To me, it's worth a gamble. And the reason for that is these countries have super growth potential. Vietnam, Iraq, Venezuela, Africa are some of the richest nations out there, but yet their government keeps them poor. So do the globalists who benefit from these devalued currencies without even caring about the locals. But I do believe we're heading towards a more even playing field, so that's why I refuse to give them up. I'll hold them, and we'll see what happens from there. Anyways, you guys, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. I'll catch you later. I'm out.